Hey guys, Deathy here. Welcome to my new video series, What is Currently Meta at the Top Level. In this series, I aim to cover things that are being abused right now by top level players, and I probably will do these videos maybe once a week or once every 2 weeks as things change pretty quickly every patch. Let's get started. The first thing I want to cover is a new movement tech that's being used. I want to credit Yams for this movement tech, and it's basically a wall jump charge punch. It looks like this. When you charge punch, you need to aim up, otherwise you mantle. If you don't aim up, this is what it looks like, and then you mantle here. However, if as the wall punch you aim up, you don't mantle and you can get up. This can be used to get up on all sorts of structures. For example, the bridge in the lane, you can do the wall jump and then charge punch on top of it. Let's talk builds. I don't want to go into a build guide, but the Zergy trackball Haze build in-game has been seeing a lot of popularity in NA high-level pubs as well as EU. I think a lot of people were playing Haze kind of wrong, going for too greedy of a build with too much farming. This build focuses around getting active early, being able to get kills, and then building into your ult later in the game so that you still become a late-game menace. This build basically fixes Haze being useless for the first 20 minutes of the game and actually transforms her into an assassin. I would highly recommend checking it out. We have the new flavor of the week build for Kelvin, the Listic and Nox Kelvin, which is a gun Kelvin variation. As you can see, I've bought most of the items, excluding the late game items, and here's what the damage looks like without alchemical fire. So you can see you're doing a ton of damage per bullet, and if you put alchemical fire and there you're in your ultimate, if I just let it tick, here's what the damage with alchemical fire looks like. It does a bajillion damage. This build seems pretty broken in pubs, and I'd recommend you abuse it before it gets nerfed. Next in the build category, we have the Vegas Viscous P90 unloading build, as he likes to call it. So you build basically a bunch of fire rate and gun items, and this is what the damage looks like. If you pop Shadow Weave, then you go. As you can see, you're just simply unloading a P90. It's not an exaggeration. And this is without even Veil Walker. So let me refresh my cooldowns. We pop Shadow Weave, Veil Walker, and this is the damage. It's completely insane. Next up in the build category, we have the Support 7 by Rena VX. This build revolves around the 7 stun static charge, and it revolves around using Echo Shard. So basically the idea is you apply one 7 stun, you Echo Shard, wait a little bit, apply a second one, and then the target is stunned for a ridiculous amount of time. They're stunned for roughly around 6 seconds. Here's what that looks like.
Do whatever's the safest option here.
Holy fuck. Why'd you put it down?
Next up on the build list, we have the gun Yamato by Lefa. This build revolves around maxing your flying strike so you get the +6 weapon damage for 10 seconds after striking the target. Here's what the damage looks like with most of the items purchased. The damage is very, very high. Warning, this build is very aim dependent, and if you can't aim, this build is not going to work. Use at your own risk. I'm not saying this build is meta or anything, but when Lefa uses it, it looks very strong. Moving on to individual items that are seeing a lot of popularity at the moment. Divine Barrier is very broken right now. It gives you 260 bullet shield and spirit shield, only 30-second cooldown, and lasts 5 seconds. This ability would probably be balanced if you could only use it on yourself, but you can also cast it on allies to save them. The fact that it's 520 health effectively whenever you want, and you can use it on yourself and on allies for only 1250 is what's making it very, very popular at the moment. A lot of people are buying it. The movement speed from it is also very nice. I would expect this item to get slightly nerfed. The next broken item I want to talk about is Decay. In my patch video, I talked about how Decay was broken. I want to explain a little bit why and what people are abusing. Decay does 3.1% health bleed damage per second. This means that it is percentage based, therefore it scales with the game duration. It's one of the only 1250 items that actually scales the more health enemies have. This means that this item is just as effective in 40 minutes into the game as it is 5 minutes into the game, making it very strong the entire game. The only thing is that it gives 50% healing reduction, and with how prevalent healing is at the moment, it's a very strong item. On top of that, it is the item, the 1250 item that gives the most spirit power, giving a total of 15 spirit power. The second highest would be Slowing Hex, with a total of 13. So you can see if I use Decay on this target dummy right here, it's doing 93 damage per tick. around 90 damage. It's going down a little bit based on health, but this is still a ton of damage for a 1250 item. Granted, the dummy has a lot of health, but when you're in the late game, I've seen Decays easily do 600 to 700 damage for the cost of 1250. This item is extremely strong. That's it for this week. If there's anything interesting next week or the week after, I'll make another video like this. Let me know if you guys enjoyed this type of content, and I'll see you next time.